Okay, so I've got a code here where my cat draws a box. Awesome. But it's a bit of a dull program. So I want it to be a bit smarter than that. I want it to draw a box that of size that I tell it to. So a bit smarter program, it'll draw any sized box. To do that, I'm going to go down to data, and I'm going to make a variable. And I'm going to call that variable side length. Now I'm just going to choose for all sprites here. That means all sprites can interact with this variable. Okay, so variable, at the moment it says side length equals 0. Now that's not doing anything, it's just a variable that I've created so far. Now I'm going to get the cat to ask me a question. Ask, how big should the square be? And he's going to ask me a question, and I'm going to answer that question. Let's look at what that looks like when I put that inside of my code. Alright, so he asks me a question, and then a little box appears, and I can say 20. Now nothing's happened here. He just asked me a question, and I typed in the number, but I didn't do anything with that number. So the next thing I need to do is go back to data and say set side length to, and I go to sensing and drag answer into that box. Alright, now I'm just going to disconnect this so you can see what happens. How big should the square be? Okay, I think it should be 80. And you can see it's now set the variable to 80. It's set side length to 80. Now if I reconnect things and I press it and it asks me the question and I press 80, he still draws a dumb square. He doesn't draw the right size square. That's because I'm still telling it to move 100 steps for each line. Instead, what we need it to do is move side length steps. So move X steps. Now, if I do that, let's take a look at what happens. How big should the square be? 70. And he draws a slightly smaller square. How big should the square be? 150. And he draws a bigger square. Alright, so we're introducing variables here to our coding. Variables are a great way to create flexible programs, things that will respond to the stimulus that you provide it with.